Hello, this is Founder Leroon, and I'm going to demonstrate an epic battle with a heroic character by the name of Felonious Feline. She is a rogue mastermind, 7th level. She's going to attempt to cross this very dangerous river of the jungle. She has a pretty good chance because she's very dexterous. However, the natural bridge that she's going to cross is quite slick with moss and from rain left over from the other day. And below her, about 10-20 feet, are a rapid river waterway that would be detrimental to her because she doesn't really like water. So she kind of lives up to her tabaxi cat ways. And she's going to try to make an attempt to cross the river without gaining the attention of these alligators. I think they're actually crocodiles, so anyhow, we'll see what happens. I must get across. I have no other choice. There has to be another way. Wait, there isn't. This is the way. My senses tell me that this has been crossed before. I'm not sure if I want to tangle with those hideous crocodiles below. I see them down there skulking around waiting for me to make a mistake. Well, here goes nothing. Felonious Feline is going to attempt to cross the bridge using a skill check. I will go to her skills tab, and since she's a rogue, I'm going to go ahead and roll the stealth and bring this down in case that she wants to be quiet. And then I'm also going to do her athletics. Is that something that she'll be using quite a bit? And her acrobatics. And acrobatics allows her to stay on her feet in a tricky situation, such as balance, tightrope, things like that. So acrobatics is definitely the role I'm going to use. And athletics would be something that I would need to check if she falls or something. Okay. So now, she's going to move 15 feet. So for every 10 feet or so, I have to make a skill check. And since this is a very dangerous crossing, she's going to be at disadvantage because of the terrain. And I'm going to roll for every 5 feet or so that she moves. So I'm going to go ahead and lock the token. And she's going to move here. And she's going to move very carefully and quietly, because she doesn't want to arouse these crocodiles. So she's even trying to avoid scuffing her feet on the log, which will allow fragments of the log, rotten wood, and moss to fall into the river. So we'll see what she does. She's really nervous a little bit. She's crossed this river before, but she doesn't remember seeing it so high and so fast and full of mud. So there had to have been a really big rain upstream somewhere. So she's going to attempt her crossing. So I'm going to roll first, and this is going to take about 2 rolls for her to get across. So I'm going to go ahead and roll the first check, and it's at disadvantage because of the log and the conditions of it. It is uneven, it's round, there's really not a big flat surface to go on, and it's also rained and there's moss and slime on the log. So I'm going to go ahead and roll her acrobatics check in the dice tower. And with disadvantage, even with that, she was able to roll a 20. So that is very good. And I'm going to roll one more time because she kind of slows down and comes to a very brief stop to make sure she has her balance in check. So this will be the next 15 feet. If she makes it across, she won't have to contend with the alligators. So let's see what happens. So she takes a look around nervously, looks on either side of the log, and again, disadvantage and athletics. This time she rolls a 12. The number to beat would have been a 15. So as she gets about halfway across, right about here, she loses her balance and falls into the river below. I'm going to give her a chance to reach out and grab the edge of the log to help break her fall. So I'm going to make a strength check, which is going to be difficult because the log is slippery, and she's trying to basically do this with one hand. And being that she has claws, I'm going to give her advantage, and hopefully the claws will help her. But it's still a 15 or higher to make this strength check. And she's not super strong, so we'll see what happens. So she rolled very well. Her claws did help her. And she's able to grab on a hold of the log and basically put both hands on the edge of the log and hold herself there until she can pull herself up. So now she's going to have to make one more strength check. And while she's doing that, she's gained the attention of this hungry crocodile. And her feet are dangling no more than a couple feet from the water's edge. So the crocodile swims over towards her from the shore, and he takes a look at her, and he sees her struggling, and he's anticipating that she's going to fall into the river. So I'm going to start this as a combat round just in case. So alligator number 2 is looking to get in on the action, so he just moves forward one step, and he's just waiting. If she hits the water in this round, he's immediately going to attack her with his teeth and try to spin. Alligator number 1, he pokes his head up out of the water and swims towards her and tries to grab at her feet. He will be at disadvantage because the river is moving and she's also a moving target. So it would really pose a difficulty for him. And then she's not actually in the water. So he has to kind of basically emerge from the water and try to kind of leap up and grab her feet. So we'll see what happens. So I'm going to use the bite action, and it's at disadvantage. And he missed. So very poorly, he kind of swam up through the water and pushed himself to surface. And when he did, she tucked her feet in, and he missed. So she hears a splash underneath her as the crocodile kind of falls back in the river. And he just kind of ends up underneath the river, or underneath the log in the river. And he's still anticipating her. She can't really see him, but she knows he's there. So that's his turn. Crocodile number 3, same thing. He moves forward, and he's anticipating her fall. So Felonious, she's in a very bad situation. Right now, she's waiting to see if she can pull herself up. Otherwise, she's going to have to let go and drop into the river and make a swim for it. Doesn't look good for her if she doesn't make it. But she has to make a strength check. And she has her claws to help keep her anchored to the log. But now she just needs to make a basic strength check to pull herself up onto this log once again. So I'm going to go ahead and roll her strength check. And I'll do that in the dice tower. She rolled a 7. So her claws end up raking the side of the log, and she forms 2 long scratches as her body weight begins to drag her downward. And her claws are digging into the log, and the only thing they've done is slow down her descent. So she can make one last maneuver. So she's going to spin around, do an athletics check, and make a swim for the bank of the river. So she turns around in midair and drops in like she's diving, and she's going to try to make a swim for it. So let's see. But remember, this alligator and this alligator are still waiting for her to drop in. So they will get attacks if that's the case. So she drops into the water and tries to make a swim for it. So she's here. I'm going to make an acrobatics check to see if she landed correctly and dove in the water correctly. And it shouldn't take too much. I mean, she's at disadvantage, but she's pretty acrobatically inclined. So here's her acrobats. So she rolls a 12 or higher. She's able to spin around, gain her balance, and dive in, and face the correct direction to swim forward. She doesn't have too far to go. I mean, we're talking like less than 10 feet. So she's right there. However, let's see what the roll says. That disadvantage really got her, and she rolled a total of 19. So she basically barely spins around and drops into the water and pops back up, and she starts to move forward. But unfortunately, these alligators, or crocodiles, were already there, anticipating her fall. So Croc 2 surfaces from the river, and it's really muddy. It's kind of hard to see into there. And he makes a bite attack on her. So he goes ahead and takes a bite. He grabbed her. So he does... Let's see how much damage that does. Ouch. So Felonious has a mouthful of teeth wrapped around one of her legs. And now she is grappled and restrained. And she must fight for her life now. Crocodile number 1 closes the gap, but this crocodile is territorial. So now these two are fighting each other over this food, while this one is basically got her. So crocodile number 1 and number 3 square off. So croc number 1 attacks crocodile number 3. He scores a hit. And he does heavy damage to the croc. Now he has him grappled and restrained. And now both of them are twisting around in the water, trying to break free of one another's grasp. So this crocodile is going to make a strength check. He's wounded fairly bad. But he's going to be at disadvantage because he's grappled and restrained. So we'll see if he can break the restraint or the grapple. So I'm going to make a strength check, and the other is going to make a strength check as well. So crocodile number 2. Okay, he rolls a total of 6. Number 1 is going to roll and try to beat that. Oh, yeah. So number 3 broke the restrained, but he's still tangled up with the other crocodile. So I'm going to remove the restrained condition. And he is basically trying to get away, so that's his turn. Okay. The river is pretty deep here. It's about 35 feet deep. And she only has, basically one chance to get across this river. But she has to break free, otherwise she's going to drown. So first I'm going to see if she can break the grapple and the restraint condition. So she has to make a contested strength check. So alligator number 2 has this number. He rolls a total of 12. So for her to break one of these conditions here, she's going to have to roll to see if she makes it. So here's her strength check. And she does not. Wow. So she's starting to suffocate and drown. So the next round, I'm going to have to roll to see if she's starting to choke and lose her, basically lose her breath. But right now she's okay, but after a few minutes there, it's going to not looking good. So this alligator, again, just keeps trying to hold on. He can hold his breath for quite a while, for 15 minutes. So he's just maintaining his grapple on her and trying to spin around. So that's his turn. And I'm going to roll his strength check in case she tries to break free again. This time he rolls a total of 20. So if she wants to break any of those conditions, she's going to have to roll that. Alligator number 1 has alligator number 2 in his grasp, but he's still locked up with him and spinning around, so he's just trying to hold on. So I'm going to roll a strength check. And he rolled a 19. Alligator number 3 is going to make a contested strength check. He has to beat 19. And he did. So he broke the grappled effect, which is amazing. So now he's going to return the favor on his next turn. He's either going to swim away or he's going to counter attack. We'll see. Because he's fairly wounded, so he may not want to. Okay. So it looks like Felonious is having a hell of a time staying afloat. She's got this alligator spinning, trying to take her leg off, basically. So as he has her grappled, she's going to end up taking more damage. So let's see. Crocodile 2. His bite attack. He does 11 more points of damage to her. So now she's bleeding profusely from her leg, and her tendons and her bones are starting to feel like they're going to crack. So she's really hurt really bad. So she doesn't really have much of a choice. While she still has oxygen, she is going to turn this way and try her best at a disadvantage. And I believe that she's already at disadvantage. So I'm going to give her a -2 to try to, basically she's going to pull out her rapier and try to stab the crocodile. It's going to be very difficult because she has all these conditions on her. So we'll see what happens. So I'm going to go to the rule book and see what it says about swimming, because I haven't conducted a swim battle in quite some time. So I'm going to go to the story, and I'm going to go to the player's handbook, and I'm going to go to the reference manual, and here I will look for swimming. So here's the underwater combat. Basically, it says when making a melee attack, a creature that doesn't have a swimming speed has disadvantage on the attack roll unless the weapon is a dagger, javelin, short sword, spear, or trident. Well, she has a rapier, so it's not quite like that. Creatures and objects that are fully immersed in water have resistance to damage. So if she had any fire spells, the creature would be resistant to it. So basically, she's at disadvantage, and she has a -2 to hit because of the way she has to perform the attack. So I'm going to go ahead and go to her actions tab, and she has this really nice rapier, and she tries to stab the alligator with it. Oops, that was wrong. Try again. Let's do the attack roll first. So she missed. So despite her trying to, give up and try to make things happen, she missed her turn, and now she's going to try to move away, and which she is grappled. So she has to make a strength check, or else she's going to drown. So she tried one little Hail Mary, and now she's going to be relegated to just making strength checks. And it's going to be very awkward for her. So she has to drop her rapier and try to pull herself over and get out of the grasp of the crocodile. And the more she moves, the worse it is for her. Alright, she rolled an 18. So now let's see what the alligator does, or the crocodile. So crocodile number 2, he clamps down harder, and if he makes a strength check, he's going to do more damage to her by crushing her and using his teeth to gnash on her thigh now and her leg. So let's see what happens. So now he's going to make a strength check. He rolled a 13. So he wasn't able to bite down on her, but he is able to maintain the restrain condition. But she is no longer grappled, so that means she's free to move around. Or she's free to try to move around. Now that she's restrained, though, really not going to help her much. But she's going to be able to break the restrain, is what I meant to say. So let me check her. Yeah, so she can break the restraint, and now she's just grappled. And since she's basically trying to pull away from him, he's going to come down with a bite. And he's going to probably get advantage because she's still in his possession. Yep. So he takes another grasp on her and does 11 points of damage. So his jaws are tearing her up. Okay, these two crocodiles are still going at it. So it looks like that he is going to attack the other, since he has the upper hand. And he scores a vicious hit. And he takes that alligator out. So that gator is gone. So there's like all kinds of blood in the water now. And this this crocodile is dead. So that's its turn. So on its next turn, it'll recover and try to go after her as well. Felonious, she doesn't have a whole lot of options. So I'm going to take the actions, and she has evasion and uncanny dodge. So at 7th level, she can nimbly dodge out of the way of certain area effects, such as like a red dragon's fire, things like that. But I don't think she has that capability in the water. So let me look at the dodge for a sec. Yeah, so she's going to use her reaction to basically try to dodge the next attack. So if she receives another bite, she's going to try to move aside her leg, even though she's restrained, but she's going to have disadvantage. So we'll see what happens. So now I need to start thinking about constitution checks. So she's already been underwater drowning for a while. So let me check the good old player's handbook. And I'm going to the reference manual. Maybe it's in the Dungeon Master's Guide. Okay, so the drowning rules is you're underwater, you basically start to drown. You swim straight down at half the speed, and if you're wearing medium armor or such, it'll slow you down even more. So in light armor, you can try to swim, and it takes a DC strength of 10. And you have to make that saving throw every round. So if you fail, you have a speed of 0. Well, she's been making strength checks fairly consistent, so I'm not too worried about that. Let's see. She can carry one loose item, or you can drop it. If you choose to remove your armor after entering the water, that changes that. But each round you succeed, you keep your head above water, and it counts as one round required to remove your armor. Failure means that you went underwater and you made no headway. So after 3 failures, you receive 1 level of exhaustion. So right now, she's doing okay, but she's getting close. So I'm going to roll to see her athletics check. See if she's keeping above water. So let's see. Oh yeah, so she's able to kind of bob up and down and keep her head above water. And now she has to try to break free. She's still grappled. So let's see what happens. So she's treading water and she's trying to kick her other leg to get the crocodile to let go. So let's see what happens. So strength check again. She fails. So the crocodile makes his strength check to keep the grapple in effect. And he's going to roll. Oh yeah, so she's still grappled. So the other alligator comes, and now he's kind of wondering what he wants to do here. He can either attack Felonious, or he can fight the crocodile number 2 for her body. So I'm going to roll a dice. If I roll 1 to... it's basically a D6. If I roll 1 to 4, he is going to go after Felonious. If it's a 5 or 6, he's going to go after the other alligator. Okay, so he goes after Felonious. So he tries to make a bite at her. She's still grappled from the other guy. And he happened to miss. So that was his turn. Okay, Felonious, let's make your athletics check. See if you can tread water. Yeah, she's hurting. But she still rolled fairly high, so that's really helpful. Now she has to try to break free. So she's going to make a strength check and try to break free of this grapple. So again, she's kicking with her leg, her one good leg, and trying to keep herself floating. And in doing so, she's trying to kick the alligator's mouth to try to get him to let go. Okay, that time she rolled a 19. So now we'll see what this crocodile does. So he feels her kicking on his mouth, and he's going to try to get another bite on her. He still has her by her pants, basically, and he's trying to twist. So let's see what he does. So he has to beat that 19 to keep this grapple in effect. So let's see what happens. Ah, so now the grapple has been let go. And this crocodile is basically going to make another attack since she kind of broke free. And he missed. So this might just give her the opportunity that she needs. This crocodile is noticing that she's moving freer, but he smells the blood in the river. He's getting excited. So he is going to try to attack her as well. And he missed as well. This is a miracle. She's got 2 alligators fighting her. So now, since she's not grappled anymore, she is going to do this uncanny dodge thing. So she has that. So that'll help her a little bit. So if I apply that, when you see an attacker, you can see it hits you with an attack. You can use your reaction to half the damage against you. So that'll be ready. And then evasion is the ability to evade something like an area of effect. So that wouldn't really help her much. So she's going to take the chance and try to swim away. So she moves here. I need to make an athletics check. So let's see what happens. See if she still stays upright. And I'm going to roll her strength check. Or athletics, excuse me. So her athletic is what I'm going to use to do swimming. Oh, she rolled a 1. Oh my god, that couldn't get any worse than that. So she goes absolutely nowhere. And now the next turn that the crocodile has, they get advantage on her because she's basically having a hard time treading water. Her lungs are starting to fill up with water, and she's choking. So the only thing she can do right now is try to get away. And she's just basically staying still. So she's not moving anywhere. So let's see what happens. I'm going to click advantage. Crocodile 1 tries to take a bite on her. And of course he hits. And he does 5 points of damage. And again, he has grappled her and restrained her. So he's basically spinning her around. Crocodile number 2 is noticing that she's attacked by this other alligator. So again, I'm going to roll a 6-sided 1 through 4, he's going after Felonious. 5 to 6, he's going to attack the other alligator for the food. And it's a 3. So she's basically SOL on that. And he gets advantage because she failed utterly on her swim roll, and she's taking in water now. And let's see. Oh, critical hit. So he's not only grabbed her, but he's grabbed her in a vital area. Probably grabbed her right on her thigh and starts twisting. So he twists the opposite way of this guy. So she's now a human or a humanoid cat person tourniquet. Well, let's see what happens. Oh, there she goes. Rest in peace. Well, she is now crocodile food, and she took the risk of trying to cross this river, and she basically paid for it. So now both the crocodiles are twisting around. She makes her death save. This alligator basically keeps biting on her, and basically does a lot more damage. Same with this alligator. Wow. So she's definitely dying. She makes her death save. So she's got 2 fails and 2 saves. I think she's basically going to die. Yep, she's dead. So that took care of her. Rest in peace, Felonious Feline. Too bad that cats are afraid of water. And next time, use a rope or something that's going to help you keep your balance. So, that concludes this little session with the superhero or epic character. She was 7th level rogue, and she was trying to cross the river, and she ended up paying for it when she slipped and fell, and she couldn't swim very well, and the crocodiles kind of encroached on her. And I gave her a lot of fair chances, so I think that this encounter was fairly fair. So until next time, take care, everyone.